I get so many questions from people asking, how do you grow cauliflower? So these are the cauliflower that I've multi-sown in the module, and what I'm going to do now is pot them in individual pots, because when the garlic is harvested, I'll be able to replace the empty space with some nice all year round cauliflower. So a lot of people have trouble growing cauliflower. The first year I bought some cauliflower from the garden centre, and it came out great. I found that you do get trouble with slugs, and also you have to cover it with a leaf or something to keep it dark, keep it away from the sun, otherwise it goes yellow, and yeah, it ruins your cauliflower really. But I did notice when I harvested some of the cauliflower last year that there were a couple of slugs in there, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle around the base of the I'm putting them in raised beds, but around the edge where I've planted them I'm going to sprinkle a tiny bit of lime, because snails don't like lime either. So, and also I'm going to make some different covers for the brassica beds. So yeah, I've got quite a few plants here. I multi-sowed them really just to pick out the best, but they're all good, so I'm not going to waste any, because cauliflower you can always put in the freezer. Yeah, there's not going to be any waste, so I'm going to put all these on and I'll be back with you shortly. So I potted up all those all year round cauliflowers there. I've got 2 trays of that, so I've got quite a few of them now. YouTube friends, my name's Jackie, welcome to Gone Potty Gardening. Today I'm in the Polytunnel. You can hear the rain bouncing off the outside. It's a showery kind of day, so rather than waste it and wait for it to stop raining, I've come in the Polytunnel to do some potting on really. And one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do you grow cauliflower? Now, some people find it really difficult to grow cauliflower. When I first started growing cauliflower, I bought it from a shop, the actual plants that were already grown. The following year I tried it myself and it worked. So there's 2 types I'm growing. There's this type which is cauliflower all year round, and this one's called Autumn Giant. Yeah, it's quite a bit of difference, isn't there, in the size? Now this one has been planted since February, believe it or not, and I found it really difficult to keep these ones growing, and I think it was because of the cold, the varying temperatures, any slight variant that was too cold, they would wilter and die. So I managed to keep 3 of these, that's all. So what I'll probably do is I'm going to pot these on into bigger pots. I could plant them outside, but the reason I'm not at the moment is because I'm waiting to harvest the onions and the garlic, and then I should put all the brassicas all along the front of the garden where they are. So I'd rather put out strong plants than little plants like that can get eaten overnight, which they have done in the past. I've put those out overnight, I've covered them with a fleece, and the next morning they're gone, they're slug damage. So so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant these into bigger pots. I've only got 3 of these big ones, and keep them until, like I say, until I can plant them outside in that bit. And these little all year round cauliflowers I'll keep in the Polytunnel for the same reason, until those beds are cleared. Like I say, with cauliflower, there were several things I found out. Now this is just my experience from growing cauliflower. I found that they do attract slugs, and like I say, you can sprinkle a bit of lime around the bottom of the plants, and always mound them up at the bottom. You know, if you see the soil getting flat, keep mounding it up. And I do feed as well in between, just a general fertiliser really. And when the cauliflower heads do show, like I said, you need to get the leaves and kind of like tuck them over it like that and clip them to hide it, because they do curdle and they get ruined if the sun gets to them too quick. Yeah, but I had great success with cauliflower. I'll pop a little bit in there from the cauliflowers last year, which is there. So we'll have to harvest that, because I can see down that little edge there. Well, that'll have to be cut off, but that's our last one. So we had some lovely cauliflower this year. Another thing I found was with the cauliflower is they don't like loads of water. They don't like to be sitting in damp soil. So, you know, you can see, look how dry that is. Dry as a bone, that is. And it's loving it. So not too much water. That's a good tip for the cauliflower. Yeah, this one's quite healthy. It's got some nice little shoots coming. Yeah. So I've potted that up into a bigger pot, and that'll probably be in there for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then it'll be a really nice plant, and this pot will be full of roots, and it'll be great to get in the ground and get growing. Now the cauliflowers take about 80 to 90 days before you can harvest them, and maybe a little bit longer. So what are we now? May, June, July. Yeah, you could probably get another sowing in if you wanted to, but I mean, I've planted enough really. And what we're going to do, like I say, is with all the cauliflower plants, if we do get some decent cauliflowers, we will be like making soups with them, cauliflower cheese, put some in the freezer. And yeah, it's funny because one thing I didn't like very much when I was a kid was cauliflower, but I've grown to like it now. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing with the cauliflower. Another good tip that I forgot to actually mention was that when you're sowing your seeds, try and get the best compost that you can afford, because it really does make a difference. And really, it's quite easy to pick up a bag because you think, oh, that's cheap, but nah. I think I used John Inn's multi-purpose compost, and I've had some terrific results this year from all my planting, so that is a good tip. So for the cauliflower, don't water too much. If you can, plant the seed and set them in a tray of water. Well, water them initially and then sit them in a tray of water and let them take what they need themselves. Keep them out of drafts and all that. And a good potting compost, and you should be away. You should have some nice cauliflowers. Yeah, and you know, be careful of slug damage and stuff like that, and keep the cauliflower head covered. So yeah, some good tips there. If you've ever grown cauliflower, let me know in the comments. Let me know so that we can all share tips to each other, you know, about the growing of cauliflowers. And yeah, we can all learn from each other, can't we? I just want to touch on polytunnels a bit. If you haven't got a polytunnel and you're thinking of getting a polytunnel, I'd definitely go for it, and definitely try if you can to get an electric supply to it. I know you can't if you're on an allotment, but if you've got one on your own land, it's worth it, because I always find that coming into the polytunnel is like a haven. It's a haven of peace, and you know, there's so much enjoyment from sitting, potting on, planting seeds, looking at what you've grown. And you know, I quite often sit out here and have the little Alexa playing and local radio. There she goes. I mean, I've had so much enjoyment from the polytunnel. I love, you know, I love the quiet of it, the peace and quiet. It's another place to come. Go on. dog wants to go out. It's another place to come and just, you know, if it's raining, you're dry. If it's cold, you put your coat on and come in here. You're always going to be cosy no matter what. So definitely is worth getting a polytunnel. Now, as probably a lot of you know, oh come on, stop being a nuisance. We have got 2 polytunnels now. We've got the one with the cover, which I'm in, which I use half as a potting area. I'll flick it round and show you. There you go. So I use all that area, that whole bench there, for putting seeds and things that I've potted up and stuff like that. You need a good space like that in the polytunnel, and you know, that I find that handy. And I have my little bench here to do my bits on. Like I said, today I've been sitting out in the polytunnel and I've been sorting out all these plants so that I know what ones have got to go out, what are flowers, what are vegetables, and yeah, so I'm always busy. And yesterday I planted in these hanging baskets the tumbling tomatoes. Now they're just there for the minute while I'm pottering around in here, but actually they look a bit funny without moss on, don't they? But I'll probably be able to collect some from around the land, some moss, and stick them bits in on the basket. The other thing to consider with the polytunnels is the cover. I think this is the second cover for this polytunnel. The first one was a white cover, and this has got the little tiny squares in. You can see it from the video. Well, they probably last 3 or 4 years to cover before you have to replace it. Now I managed to get a cover. It wasn't the right one to fit this polytunnel, hence why I made a different door for it, but about £99 for this cover. Yeah, so you're looking probably at a new cover every 3 or 4 years, whereas obviously with the polycarbonate you hope to get a good few years from one of those. And yes, there's lots of things to consider really. Budget, how long you want it to last, what you want to grow in it. There's all different things, isn't there? But I suppose if I was a bit fitter and healthier, I am healthy but I'm not as young as I was, I would probably, with this tunnel I'm in now, I would probably spend the money and get a strong plastic for it that would last a long time. I've heard from several people that have put proper plastic on these polytunnels. You can get all different grades now. You can even get it with UV resistant and all stuff like that, and that varies very much in price. You can go from budget to middle range to too expensive. But yeah, if I could, I probably would do that, and yeah, replace the next time with a good strong heavy plastic that would last me probably 10 or 15 years. It's worth it. And the mistake I made, which you shouldn't make if you are getting a polytunnel, is I didn't put the tape across the bars. Of course the wind smacks against the bars and it wears the plastic, so yeah, bear that in mind if you're going to get a polytunnel. Anyway, I hope that some of it's been helpful for you, or if you're considering getting a polytunnel, or if you've got a polytunnel or any of it. I hope some of it might have helped you, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one, everyone. You have a lovely day and week wherever you are. I'll catch you then in the next video. Bye. Why not come and join me on Facebook or Instagram? The link is in the description.